Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest business chat with me, Glenys Chatterley from EBN, which, if you've been paying attention, stands for Effective Business Network. So, today you will have noticed I have got somebody with me, and you're in for a treat. This is the amazing Bambi Harrison. I've known Bambi for forever, so we've agreed we will not start discussing all the stuff we usually discuss and we'll focus on business. So, Bambi, my lovely, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much for asking. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited because even though I know a lot about you,
Mm.
I'm such a fan. It's like, ooh, it's great. So let's get started. So tell us a little bit about what you do and
Mhm.
how you got to what you do now. Go.
Okay, so I'm a chartered certified accountant, but I have a passion and an interest in the tax side of things. And the reason why I think about sort of like working in this way is because at the end of the day, there are two things that are certain: you're going to have to pay tax, and you die. Okay, so let's not think about the actual, the dying bit, but certainly the tax side of things. What we do at BB Harrison Limited is we look at what you're doing, how you're doing it, and then using the law in the right way to make sure you pay tax, but only the amount that is due. Now, I got to this. I actually did a degree in chemical engineering. That's how well, when I went to school, my subjects were physics, chemistry, and maths. And I went and I did a chemical engineering degree, which I absolutely loved. And I would do it again in a heartbeat, even though I'm actually a chartered accountant now. But what was really obvious was the fact that I really liked that kind of thing because we did like a module on accounting, and that was always my plan B. In terms of options anyway. So when I left university, I actually went and worked in a practice and just worked my way through and different companies and somehow found my way back to practice working in tax. Always loved it. And that's it pretty much. That's kind of how, certainly the BB Harrison Limited practice started. Just as a just enjoying working with people, enjoying working with businesses, looking at how they work, providing them with information, and certainly planning the work that they do in a way that they are able to effectively, but at the same time knowing that actually they're going to get relief or mitigation for some of the tax things that they, so the cost that they would expend. So yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
very, very short whistle stop tour to then and now, really, I guess.
You see, the thing is with these conversations, folks out there, I've known Bambi, as I said, for forever. I didn't know that's what her degree was in. I I didn't know. I thought she came out fully formed as an accountant, and then she became a chartered accountant. And the thing is, as well, with chartered accountants, it's like chartered anything.
Hmm.
People think that you sort of get it if you just stay long enough. But there's a lot of stuff that has to go into being chartered in anything, and you
Hmm.
have to redo it every so often as well, don't you?
Well, we have requirements, and like most things, if you don't do it often enough, you lose the skill. And everybody will know that tax law has changed certainly over the last few years with COVID and whatnot. And now it's an awful word, but we had to kind of go through it and come out the other side. And there are an awful lot of reliefs that were put in place as a result of COVID, which some of them are no longer in place, but we have needed to, and we still need to make sure that our tax knowledge and our accounting knowledge is up to date. So every year we're required to do CPD. So we don't just sit back and not do anything. We don't just turn up to work every day and think, oh yeah, I know all this stuff. Actually, we have to make sure that whatever we're doing, whatever we're researching for a client is relevant to the work that we're doing so that we can make sure that the client gets the best advice and help that they can. And that's something that's very, very important to me.
And I think for those, you probably all know this, but CPD, continuous professional development, sounds very posh. Um, I do it by, I've just had cake with somebody, and I count that as my continuous professional development because I was networking while I was doing it. So I think that counts. I don't
It
think the cake
counts.
counts for tax. No, I know. It sad but true. It should, but it doesn't. But I think it's the thing about, often accountants say things like, "Oh, it's really boring." Well, it's not. You're talking about making sure that I legally pay the
Mm,
least amount of tax I need to do, and I
mm,
get the most out of all the hard work that I've put in. Where's
mm.
that boring? I don't understand how that can possibly be boring. It's got a pound sign in front of it.
Well, I mean, you say that. What I find interesting about the job that I do is that I meet lots of different people from lots of different walks of life.
Mm.
Now, I'm the kind of person who, if I think that what you're doing is going to lead you down in the wrong direction, I will say, okay, I won't make any money out of it, but at least I'll have the satisfaction of knowing that I've given you good advice. So
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Um, we I was consulted by a lady who wanted to start up a franchise. And what she wanted to do is she wanted to set up a messy play area, which is great. And she would have had a ton of young mums with kids and everything that would have done that. While I was talking to her, her mum was looking after her son. He was chomping at the bit to get hold of mum. And we weren't talking that long. And I said, okay, first of all, these are the costs that you will actually have to incur. This is the minimum amount of work that you'll have to do. And also, you'd have to hire somebody because your son is so young, he wants to spend time with you. You don't really have the time for this. And so it's not just about looking at the pounds and the pence, it's looking at the lifestyle. Is it right for you? It might have been right for her in 10 years' time, but at the time, it wasn't right for her. And she was going to spend an awful lot of some inheritance money that she received on this project, and she was going to have
Mm.
to be working long hours in order to actually make it even pay for itself, let alone anything else. So it is, to me, the job I do, I love it because I meet different people, and if we can add value to their life, then I can sleep happy.
Yeah, I think I usually ask about what three things should people be thinking about if they're looking for an accountant. But just thinking about what you're saying, you've actually given me three things because it's about having somebody who knows their stuff,
Mm,
having somebody who is able to support you, because you kept using the word support. It
mm,
support you, not just do the job.
yeah,
And also somebody who will you trust to give it you straight.
mm,
That, and I think that's for me, it's about that's what I want from a professional. I
yeah.
want somebody who knows stuff and knows their stuff and knows that their up to date stuff and is prepared to enable me to get it right and put in that energy, if you like, into my business. So tell me, as a business person, what tell me if somebody was thinking of starting a business, what would be, not necessarily as an accountant, but as a business owner, what would
Mm.
be your top three tips, do you think?
Communication is key, definitely. So if you want to start a business, or you've been going for a while, you do need to communicate with your accountant or whoever
Mm.
professional you do, because if we can't work with half the information, so it's important to actually give us everything that we need. Once we actually have we have that dialogue going, we need data. We will then turn that data into information, and then
Mm.
that's what we feed back to you. So communication is my top three things, because all of that comes from,
Marvelous. Yeah.
we get what we need from
Yeah.
that, because communication is a two-way thing.
Yeah.
We're good, but we can't read minds.
No. It's I
So,
think it's also, you're right, it's about, because I can remember, it's like being a teenager again, and here's where I sound very old. But you think you know everything, and you realise as you get older, you knew nothing.
uh,
And the same is true, I think, when you first start in business. You may know loads of stuff, but it
mm,
may not be relevant and it might not be useful. And certainly, you will need to know more stuff than you've ever thought you have ever needed to know. And I think
well,
it's that communication. You need to say to
it
people,
is.
I need your help. How do I do this?
Definitely. I mean, a lot of accountants, and us included, will offer an initial consultation.
Yeah,
And I know certainly that I don't hold back. I like to share information, and um, I I I think that it is necessary and brilliant idea, because to consult a professional, no matter what it is, whether it's a legal, whether it's
mm,
legal advice that you need or whatever, we offer free initial consultations. Take advantage of that,
yeah.
because if you're going to be going off at a tangent and it's not really going to be of benefit to you, we will tell you.
Yeah. I think I
Um,
know when I first started, there used to be a thing called Business Link, which was a government thing. And I think you were only supposed to have about 4 sessions. I used them mercilessly. Every time I had needed another bit, I'd try and get in for the four, and they'd give me another four because it was a completely different subject to the one we'd done before. But it's
mm,
that thing about learn off people who know stuff or have done it before. I think that's the thing. And some of it is how to do stuff, and
mm.
some of it is how not to do stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, I always was of the opinion that surround yourself with like-minded people, because
yeah,
you will learn so much more and your journey will be a lot easier,
yeah,
definitely. So yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's weird because a lot of people say, well, I mean, I've got quite a few accountant friends, and people say to me, well, why are you talking to the competition? Well, we don't all know. You're talking to the competition. Well, we don't all know everything. Who I like and respect, and know that they actually are good at what they do, in my corner, because that picking up the phone and saying, and it will only take you a minute. Do you know how to do something? Why would I not ask?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think some people are very defensive
hmm,
of what they do. You know, I'm not going to tell them. I
hmm,
once got a great contract off somebody because when we did catering, I always refer back to that because we did that for 18 years, and we used to do the whole thing. We had shops and stuff, and we had units that went onto building sites, and we did events, and we ran bars and everything.
hmm.
And the thing I hated the most was bars. I hated running bars. I ran
Yeah.
them. I had staff who did them, but I hated them. And they were there was a lot of money, but I
Hmm,
hated them. Anyway, back to the story. So I went to a networking event and I looked up who was going to be there. And there was somebody who only did bars. Okay, that's all she. And I thought, cracking. I
yeah.
can have a little chat to her, we can work together. She can do any bar work that I get. I'll pass it to her. If she gets any bar work, they might need catering, then she can pass it to me. And I walked towards her at this event, and before I got near her, she said, "I'm not talking to you. We're competition."
Wow.
So,
No.
and then she walked off. Okay. So, fortunately, the bloke who'd been stood next to her said to me, "Glenys, I didn't know you did bars." I said, "Yes, I do." And we had a contract, a 3-year contract after that with one of the local councils for
Hmm.
a series of events they were running, which involved a small bar, the option of. It was brilliant. She made me
Yeah.
loads of money. But that was because she was not receptive to talking to somebody who was in a similar area. And
Yeah.
I think that you have to be brave when you're self-employed. You know,
Hmm.
you have to think that's okay. And
Yeah.
if somebody doesn't choose you, not personal. It might be personal, but it's just somewhere you just go, that's all right. You'll get enough. There's enough success to go around, as somebody once said to me.
Yes. Well, I mean, to my mind, people by people, and some personalities work well together and some don't. And I mean, I don't get offended when people say, "Oh, actually, I've got an accountant or whatever." That's great. In fact, I applaud you and I applaud them, because if you're happy with your accountant, then stay with them, because obviously they are worth their weight in gold. They
Yeah,
are providing you with the service that you are happy with, and that's really, really important. And if I can help you, and I don't sort of turn people away anyway. If I can help, then I always will. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely having people in the same field of you, I feel is an advantage. and I don't see it as competition. Yeah, and
And
I know whenever we have handovers from other accountants, I'd like to. Well, I'm always respectful of that because it's sometimes you get to the end of a chapter and you think, okay, it's time to move on now, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I think so. When you're not doing figures, calculators, and all that stuff, I don't actually know what you're using. You've gone off.
I do use a calculator. Yeah.
What are the squares? What are the things? What am I thinking of? So if you think of know what I'm talking about, somebody email me and tell me. Anyway, for now, let's move on.
Yeah.
I nearly said a set square, but I don't mean that. And I'm
Oh,
old.
you
What can
mean
I tell?
calculators?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not a calculator. It used to be a thing. It's still a thing where it's like a ruler and you move things along and do things. But
Abacus.
no, not an abacus. No,
Not that. That's not what I
between
know.
the
I know.
abacus and anyway, moving on with this because it's going nowhere.
Okay.
So, after doing all that, what do you do in your spare time?
Well, I consider myself a card-carrying member of Rubbish Film Society. I'm probably the chairman or chairperson or whatever, and I just like films that are supposed to be taken seriously, but actually I don't really at all. So your Arnie Schwarzenegger films and your Steven Seagals, which they take them incredibly seriously. Personally, I find them hilarious, but I'm probably not their target audience, but I like them anyway.
Yeah.
I like reading, so I like a really good Agatha Christie. I'm into that, and I really like my detective
Yeah.
films. I like
Yeah.
there's a Shawshank Redemption is a film that I've watched quite a number of times.
Right.
I like the intrigue, and it's almost like I find different bits to the story because what's his name? Stephen King is actually a really good writer. So I do like his films that have come from his books. So yeah,
Yeah.
and then when I am feeling a little bit frisky, I actually like to make handbags every now and again.
Yes. And I've seen some of those people. You need to see the handbags. If you're ever talking to Bambi, say, "Have you got a handbag that I can have a look at?" She will have. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so. What's what? And I know you've got two lads who must be nearly men by now. They've been going forever, really, in my mind. So they must be soon out of your hair and off to university. So yeah.
Well, I have one young man who is going to be going to university in September, young William, and he's just finishing a gap year, and he's going to be going to study economics and finance at Surrey. And I am excited for him. I am miserable for me because I shall miss him terribly. But I'm really excited that he's going to be starting the next journey of his next sort of like step in his journey. And Christian is 17 now, and he's going into so the second part of his A levels, and he keeps threatening me that he's going to be studying astrophysics and aeronautical engineer or something like that. And
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. I mean, I know I did engineering, but nothing like that. So I'm very excited for both of them because they are. I know I'm supposed to say this, but they're amazing human beings. So
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
great.
And it's good because whenever I've talked to you about them, you are always supportive and sometimes going, ah, because apparently that's what it's like if you're a parent. Never having
Yeah.
been one, I have no comment to make, but that's what I hear. So do you know what? I can feel myself settling in this chair because I'm getting into chit chat. So before we get into, well, we might not get into real chit chat. You're not missing a lot when we go on. But people, thank you for being here. Bambi, it's been a blast as I knew it would be. So thank you for being here and spending some time with me. For the rest, if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be lovely. Watch this to the end because otherwise you mess with the algorithms and we're not that kind of people. If you could like it, if you could tell your friends, if you could comment, and what else could you do? Well, if you don't come back next time, it'll be me on my own. And so I really don't want to be talking on my own. So for now, thank you, Bambi.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking me to do this.
You are welcome. And to the rest of you, thank you so much for being with us. Bye.